Welcome to Rebel Chaser. My name is Gail, and I have 3 videos for you today. They are all with Judge Rosie Speedlin-Gonzalez, and she handles each defendant quite differently, especially the last guy. The last one ends up much different than you expect it to. So with that, I will just play the clips and let you guys watch.
Let's get on the record in case number 688609 in the matter state of Texas versus Miss Angelina Ann Calvillo. Can I get announcements from the state and from probation?
Jordan Sims for the state of Texas.
Marie Martinez for probation.
And we do not have defense counsel ready because there will be no adverse action taken against Miss Calvillo today. Miss Calvillo is present on Zoom. And I'm going to read a supplemental report onto the record so we have a good understanding of Ms. Calvillo's lack of compliance. On August 17, 2023, the above-named defendant, Ms. Calvillo, was granted 10 months of probation and extended for a total of 8 months of deferred adjudication supervision for assault causing injury to a family member. To date, Ms. Calvillo has a no contact order with an individual and no issues have been reported. I guess with that individual, I'm assuming that that individual is a complaining witness, Ms. Officer Martinez. She is still responsible for 40 community service or restitution hours. In the past 6 months, she has 6 failed to submit on August 15th of 2024, June 24th of 2024, April 10th of 2024, February 28th of 2024, January 19th of 2024, and December 23rd of 2023. Since the supplemental report was submitted on November the 23rd of 2023, allowing Ms. Calvillo additional 15 days to enroll in BIP, she has failed to do so. During office visit on August 12th, 24, she was given a deadline of August 21st to enroll. On September 16th, 2024, Ms. Calvillo failed to report due to having phone issues and childcare. She last reported on the August 2nd, 2024, stating her brother would be assisting her in paying for the course. The case is set to expire February 16th, 2025. Ms. Calvillo is delinquent $945. Restitution of $100 is owed. She reports to be unemployed and is receiving financial assistance from family. So, when I got that report, Ms. Calvillo, I ordered the department to set this matter for a compliance hearing. I also ordered them to instruct you to submit to a TAP evaluation and follow recommendations. In addition to that, you were ordered to attend in-person sober support meetings 3 times a week, and there was a 0 tolerance order attached to that. Officer Martinez, what do you want to apprise the court of?
Your Honor, probation is recommending at this time that we extend her probation for 6 months and order her to enroll in BIP within the next 5 days and complete a job readiness program. She is required to work while she's on probation. The justification is that the probation has been given a prior opportunity to complete BIP, but has yet to do so. A job readiness program will provide the probationer with job skills while also helping her apply for jobs and complete a resume. This will help the probationer obtain employment so that she can pay for the class. My concern is the total lack of compliance with something as simple as providing a UA to registering for BIP. And she's been given a total of 16 months to complete these things. And it seems like she has more excuses than effort. And I don't know how the court wants to proceed at this time.
This is how the court wants to proceed. I don't want to hear from her. She's listening. You are to file a motion to revoke her probation immediately. If she is not in full compliance by the time we are in court on that motion, we will proceed with the hearing on the motion to revoke her.
Yes, Your Honor.
If she is in full compliance by then, you have the authority to withdraw the motion to revoke her probation. And
Yes,
let
Your
me
Honor.
be clear, she must be in full compliance, not 90% compliant, not 95% compliant, not 99% compliant, 100% compliant, because that's the documentation she signed. And that's the order that says she must comply with. We're not playing games with you here, Ms. Calvillo. This is adult probation. And you're either going to start to act like an adult or you're going to end up sitting with an orange uniform on for an entire year at the Bexar County Jail. You will miss your child's birthday. You will miss your child's Christmas. You will miss your child, period, for a whole year. Is that what you want? Don't answer that question. I need you to be fully compliant by the time I see you again. Understood? Let the record reflect she's nodding yes.
Additionally, Your Honor, I wanted to let you know that she informed her probation officer that she did not need to attend sober support meetings.
She's ordered to do so. She may not need, you're ordered to do it. If you don't want to do it, you're going to give me a year at the Bexar County Jail, just like I have the discretion to order you to do. Understood, Ms. Calvillo? I don't care what you think you need or don't need. Evidently, you don't know what you need because you're in front of me and you're in this court non-compliant with your conditions of probation, facing 1 year at the Bexar County Jail. So I'm not asking you to like it. You don't have to like it. I'm not asking your opinion. I'm ordering you to do specific things. You can either do them or not. I've already told you where you're going to end up if you don't do them. We'll see you in court the next time you're in court. That concludes today's proceeding.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Everyone is excused. Okay, Olga, let's get on the record in a case that has not been filed. It's case number 2024 PF 16408. Mr. Piddle filed a writ, and that is writ number 4143. Can I get announcements from the attorneys, please?
Jordan Sims for the state of Texas.
And Kelly Piddle from Maddox Ponce, and we're ready.
And I believe, Mr. Piddle, that you have conferred with the state, and there are some agreements that need to be put on the record, but we also have matters that need to be resolved by the court. So who wants to put the agreements on the record?
I will, Your Honor.
Okay.
The state and defense have agreed to the travel permissions for defendant, and all that needs to be addressed before the court is the changing of bond conditions.
Okay. And Mr. Piddle, the court will hear from you first as the moving party. And Mr. Ponce, you'll hear your attorney maybe call witnesses or put evidence, other types of evidence on. We'll hear your side first, but the state has equal access to the court, and they'll be allowed to address the court with any concerns or other matters they want the court to consider before we rule on this motion. Kelly, the floor is yours.
Judge, we call Carrie Barnett, K-A-R-I-B-A-R-N-E-T-T.
Carrie Barnett, can you please bring her in from the breakout room?
Mr. Ponce, are you doing something with your mouth?
He's not doing anything, man.
I think he's like Sabrina's people, Marie.
Okay, he relaxed. Okay, what's he doing, Kelly? He seems to pucker up and then relax, pucker up
Judge,
and relax.
I think he's special.
He's special needs, Judge. So
Okay,
we're just
all right.
difference.
Have you done a competency request?
Not yet, Judge. I'm asking that we can get this resolved first, and then we're going to explore that avenue.
Okay, all right. Ms. Barnett, I do need to swear you in. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give? Ms. Barnett, are you?
They're both judge in the same house.
Make this.
So she needs to. You need to turn the volume off on his or yours, on one of yours. No audio.
You're in the same room with either Mr. Piddle or Mr. Ponce. Which one is it, Ms. Barnett?
Mr. Ponce.
His audio is on.
You're in the same room with Mr. Ponce and there's a no contact order?
Let me turn this down.
Is that what I just heard?
Your Honor, I was told that there was a modification and that was approved. That was okay.
I don't know who approved it because I didn't approve it, and this court does not look kindly on that.
Okay.
I'm going to stop this proceeding now, Kelly. We don't do this thing backwards.
Okay.
I'm not very pleased with this. Y'all figure it out. I'm not approving this today because what this tells me today is that there's going to be a way to circumvent my order no matter what I order, because they just did it today. Okay. He needs to settle down. We're not going to have this proceeding, Kelly. He needs to calm down. I understand he's special needs. Okay. I'm not going to address you, Mr. Ponce. You need to be quiet. Your attorney's trying to get some things done for you, and you need to allow him to try to do that. We're going to stop this proceeding. Kelly, I need you to understand this court cannot tolerate people circumventing my orders and believing that someone approved them when they didn't. Any change in that order. That's why we're having this hearing. So we're stopping today. I don't know what you need to do, Kelly, but when they come in, they're in violation right now.
Okay, Judge, we will address it. We'll refile.
You don't need to refile. I think you
No, I
need
need
to have
to have it heard. But I mean, if you're not going to hear it today, I need another date. So,
well, either that or they're going to file a violation on him on the bond. I'm trying to allow you the time to resolve their non-compliance with the bond conditions right now as I see it. And I don't like rewarding people because that's what it's going to be for violating these orders. There's a reason why there's a no contact order. I don't know that reason. I didn't issue it. It's at the MAGs, right? We have a standing order.
correct.
That MAG could have done a no harmful or injurious contact at that point, and they didn't. So
Well,
I'm not going to reward violations of the conditions, Mr. Piddle. And I know it's not you. It's not you at all. But they need to understand it, and that's going to take a conversation with them, especially if Mr. Ponce thinks he can come in here and act out. I understand what you said to me, Kelly, but he can't come in here and start to want to engage with me and yell like he was yelling on camera and act the way he was acting on camera, because that wouldn't be tolerated in the courtroom. You don't have to like it, Mr. Ponce. The power dynamic here is very, very offset. You can act out all you want. All it's going to give me is enough information about your behavior to rule. We are recessing today's hearing, and we will resume the hearing on another day when Mr. Piddle's had enough time to speak to Ms. Barnett and Mr. Ponce.
Minutes, please. Minutes, please.
Carrie, mute
Okay.
yourself, please.
We're
Carrie.
done. We're done, Kelly. This matter
you,
is
Judge.
concluded.
Will be
Thank you.
excused.
Yes, sir. Olga, let's open the record on case number 640687. In the matter state of Texas versus, I have Canaan Weeder Scott, and that's Kanean Weeder Weetern Scott. And can I get, and let the record reflect that Mr. Scott is present in the courtroom. This is a compliance hearing. We're going to hear about his progress or lack thereof, and he's going to be admonished most likely, and pretty much told what will happen if he doesn't come into 100% compliance within a certain amount of time. So with that, let's have announcements from the state and probation.
Jessica Thompson for the state of Texas.
Marie Martinez for probation.
And today we're going to start with probation first, and then I'll pivot to the prosecution. And Officer Martinez, can you put on the record what the department's concerns are?
Yes, Your Honor. I also have CSO Mitchell. She is the supervising officer.
Okay.
She is logged on. She submitted a supplemental report to the court last month.
Okay.
The supplemental report states in part that Mr. Scott was sent for a UA as required in this court monthly. On the 12th, well, he was sent on the 12th of June to submit a UA by the 14th of June. He failed to submit a UA as instructed. So on the 17th of June, he reported for an unscheduled UA sample, UA test, and he signed into the lobby to submit the UA. And when he was called to the front for payment, he became belligerent for no reason. He pushed a sign that was located behind him in the lobby of the building. He continued to be belligerent while walking out of the building. He then proceeded to attempt to break the front door multiple times. Mr. Scott continued towards the side of the building to be tested through the side door and was yelling at the technician. SAPD was called due to the escalation, but he left Recovery Monitoring Solutions prior to SAPD arriving. I did review the photos that were attached that were sent to the officer from Recovery Monitoring Systems, and it does show that he was aggressively trying to the glass or the door with his arms, legs, feet. I don't know what caused the escalation or what caused the outburst, but this type of behavior is not acceptable on probation. I don't know how he acts in the office with his probation officer, but based on his underlying offense and his behavior at an agency that does UAs for the court and for probation, it's inappropriate, and we brought it to the court's
attention.
and you asked for a compliance hearing or an MTR. An MTR has not been filed at this time. Additionally, we haven't seen Mr. Scott since this incident. He missed his reporting date. I think it was last week. Correct me if I'm wrong, Ms. Mitchell. You haven't seen him since, correct?
Yeah.
So he has not, was that UA clean or did he submit it?
So it was positive for,
Okay. All right. Ms. Thompson, anything to add?
Ms.
No,
Mit-
no, Your Honor.
Ms. Mitchell, are there any other concerns or violations that the judge needs to be aware of?
no, that's it. He did have 2 failure to submits in April and May, but I've never had any issues with him reporting to me. He was in the outpatient program. His LCDC he never spoke to me about any issues or concerns he had. Right now, all he has left for his conditions of probation is a no contact and fees.
Has he completed BIP?
Let's see. He did complete BIP. He's completed BIP and he's completed the outpatient program.
Well, evidently BIP hasn't worked.
Your Honor, I would like to note that it notes that Mr. Scott is unemployed, and it appears to me that he has lost a significant amount of weight. While he's been on probation, I don't know if there's an underlying medical or mental health issue, or it doesn't seem to be a drug abuse issue because all of his UAs are negative with the exception of the ones that he has not submitted and the one recent positive marijuana test. So I don't know what is going on with him. Maybe he
Well,
can-
he may not be submitting. I'm just guessing. I want to hear from him. Is out of your system like any other in 48 hours. So if
Exactly.
he's indulged in or used within 48 hours of the request, that's why he's not submitting. I'm guessing.
Exactly.
Okay. So is there anything you want me to know, Mr. Scott?
Just that I'm trying to adhere to my conditions and trying to pay my dues and the fines as best as I can.
Anything else?
I would apologize to the MRS if I could, if that was acceptable, for any misunderstanding.
He's talking about RMS.
RMS, yes, ma'am.
Yeah, that's okay.
For my for whatever misunderstanding took place there, I'm not trying to look for any altercation or try to make any problems with somebody that's just trying to facilitate a UA. I would just try to submit my UA or leave, or I wouldn't want to try to do that. I'm apologizing for the misunderstanding.
Okay.
So
here's what I want to make clear to you, Mr. Scott.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't work at Burger King. I don't own a Burger King. You don't see a Burger King uniform on me. And that's the only place you get things your way.
Yes, ma'am.
You don't get probation your way. You do it the way I order you to do it, Mr. Scott. Otherwise, these officers have protocols and policies that I support, which would be to file a motion to revoke your probation, adjudicate you guilty, and you just go serve your time over at the Bexar County Jail. I have no issue with holding defendants accountable in that fashion. I have found that that's the most effective way to get their attention and to get them to think about changing their ways. Now, let's get back to you. I want you to finish probation successfully, Mr. Scott. But now you got a little bit of a hill to climb because I need you in 100% compliance, Officer Mitchell. I need him in 100% compliance within a week. There's absolutely no reason why he cannot be compliant. That means I need him to submit to a test within the next 24 hours. I want him tested weekly for now until further court order. And Mr. Scott, you're going to go to 3 meetings a week, sober support meetings to keep you on the right track in person. There's hundreds of meetings in San Antonio, and they meet 24 hours a day. Find one. Because that's where you're going to be going 3 times a week until further court order. How much more time does he have on his probation, Officer Mitchell?
December 31st, 2024.
Okay,
That's with an extension, Your Honor. And I would like the court to note that he has paid $1,416 on his fines and fees since he's been on probation. So previously to this, he was trying to be compliant. But he was extended until December.
You know, I think we fall into this trap of judging people on their worst day of their lives. And we forget about all the good they can bring with them. And I heard good about you, Mr. Scott. But this event, whatever happened that day, was so out of character for you. You heard the officers. You were doing fantastic, and then all of a sudden this happens. So I'm not sure what happened there. But if your apology is sincere, I need you to write an apology letter, have Officer Mitchell review it, and the next time you go test, after she reviews it and approves it, you're going to hand deliver that to the tech that you had issues with, or he had issues with you. I don't know what happened. I haven't seen any video photos. So I don't know which side was culpable, if any side was culpable. It might have been, like you said, a miscommunication. I don't know. But this is my only and last warning to you. You got a warning when you put on probation. It's called an admonishment. I'm going to warn you again, Mr. Scott. You have 24 hours to submit. Then you're going to be submitting at least weekly, unless the officer suspects that you're using, and she might ask for more frequent. You're going to go to 3 sober support meetings a week until further court order, and you're going to write an apology letter to this tech that you had issues with, or he had issues with you, or she, or whatever. You're not going to jail, but you need to get compliant. It's 0 tolerance until further court order. Any questions, Mr. Scott?
No, I have no questions.
Okay. Now, you heard one of our officers concerned about your health. Everything okay with you?
I think I just need a little, just a little luck, I guess. I don't know. Things just aren't falling together since
So let me
had housing. Since I just had a bad experience. In June or May, June, April.
Been a rough time for you?
With my housing, yes.
Okay.
So,
do you have housing right now?
I'm in between on housing. So
when you say in between housing, you know what I hear?
Yes, ma'am.
That you're homeless.
It's a level of homelessness, yes.
Would you be interested in maybe going into a sober home?
If I had funding to not kind of compound the stress of trying to adjust.
What can we do to help him, officers?
Yeah, that was my concern too, because like I said, before this incident, I have not had any issues with him, and I know he has mentioned being in between houses for a while now.
I mean, let's think about it. What's the most stressful thing in our lives, right? Losing our housing or our car or somebody dying. So it's right up there to produce the kind of stress that makes you feel discombobulated. Yeah. And I think he's trying, and I think he needs a support system, and a sober house for him would be fantastic.
I agree.
So can we work on that, Officer Mitchell, with him finding, and Officer Martinez has resources through our Reflejo court that she can access.
Yeah.
And see if, okay. So there's plenty of provider. There's Oxford Homes. There's a few other sober home providers. Mr. Scott, are you working?
Yes, I'm with temp service.
Okay.
2, and then yes.
Okay. So those sober homes have a much lower rate of rent than a regular apartment. Okay. 1, 2, they stay on you and keep you honest. 3, it'll keep you sober. And 4, you'll have a community of men around you that are going through the same challenges as you are. Okay. And y'all can bounce off each other and be resourceful for each other. But I need you to be open to moving into a sober home. I don't want you sleeping on the streets, Mr. Scott. That's too dangerous. Do you understand my concern for you?
Absolutely, ma'am. I'm already pursuing the transitional living and
Okay.
Catholic Workhouse and
Okay.
Salvation Army, and I'm staying on the waiting list and trying to find.
Do you have somebody to help you, like a case manager or anything like that?
So
On his own?
I'm just reviewing my notes because this, we've had this conversation before. I went all the way back to April and we've been having the conversation. I've given him resources for Haven for Hope, the Bexar County Reentry Center, and Chrysalis Ministries, and I don't believe he's went. So it would be a matter of him utilizing resources that are given to him, because I did explain to him that when you go to Chrysalis Ministries, they will assign you a case manager. So that case manager will help you get into housing and
So
stuff.
here's what I'm asking of the department.
Mhm.
This type of challenge has got a lot of stigma to it. It's embarrassing for a lot of people, and I can understand why.
Mhm.
It's very hard to pick up the phone and say, I need somewhere to live. I need somewhere to stay.
Right.
Okay. So I'm going to ask Officer Mitchell that you place that call for him and open the door, introduce them to him. Now there's absolutely no excuse.
Right. Okay.
Okay. You hear me, Mr. Scott?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do you agree with some of the things that I've observed?
Absolutely, yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. So we got to the core of it. So Officer Mitchell, if you could call Chrysalis, let them know that you're calling at my direction and that I'm asking that they help Mr. Scott with housing. And then if you could just report to Officer Martinez, and she'll keep me apprised of if we need to do anything else.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else, Officer Martinez or Officer Mitchell?
No, Your Honor, I just need someone to put me and the defendant and Officer Martinez in a breakout room so we can review how we're going to take care of this.
Okay. Mr. Scott, any questions you have, I'll hear you now.
Thank you, Sybil.
No, I'll just say thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Let's go ahead and put Marie, Mr. Scott, and Officer Mitchell in a breakout room so they can develop some sort of strategic planning for his housing.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Marie's. So I'm going to talk about each one separately. The first one, the woman that has not done a thing on probation, she deserves to have her probation revoked. She has not tried to do much of anything while on probation. And probation is in lieu of jail. If you don't want to do probation, then you do jail. That seems to be what she wants. So she's going to get jail. She's going to get a motion to revoke, and she's going to end up in jail, which is, I guess, what she'd rather do. The second one, that's a big no-no to be found on screen in front of the judge violating a no-contact order. That is really, really the wrong thing to do, especially in front of that judge, but really in front of any judge. You don't do that. And the other thing I wanted to say is the young man that is the subject of this, he is able to control himself when someone lays down the law and tells him to control himself, because he was able to control himself when the judge told him to sit down, be quiet, and relax. When she told him that, he shut his mouth and he calmed down. So, to make excuses for the man does a disservice for him. He can control himself when he chooses to. Fortunately, the judge laid down the law and made him choose to control himself. The last guy, I've actually been saving this for a little while because it was just heartwarming and I didn't know how to work it in, but it's just heartwarming to me. And it shows how much she really does care about the people that come before her. She cares about the human beings in front of her before she cares about sending him to jail or, giving him, big fines and stuff like that. She wants to help this man. And I just say hats off to her. I congratulate her for that. And I put it in here because it was so heartwarming. And you saw the different faces of Judge Rosie. All of them are great. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.